BTG Nation, what's up? It's the crew, the fellas are here, the young OG and the OG are here. And as you guys know, we always like to come giving, throw a few dimes to our crew. So Manscaped, they've been our partners, our friends for the last few weeks, and we want to make sure we're sharing the wealth with you guys. So Valentine's Day is around the corner. So fellas, make sure you're getting right. Ladies, if he's not getting right on his own, show him some love and give him one of those sneaky presents under the pillow. Get your body well groomed. Don't spend no time wasting, and go get that Performance Package 4.0, which includes that signature lawnmower 4.0. And yes, if you're in Dubai, because we've had a lot of our young cats that listen to the show say, hey, can we get that? Yes, Dubai.
They've been looking for it.
Yes, in the UAE, you can get it. Coach and I, we have our whole package at the crib. It works. It's fire. Get yours and join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. So, with our exclusive offer, you can go to manscaped.com right now and get 20% off and free shipping by using the code BTG Nation. That's right. With that, you get the 4.0 performance package and you get all the tools you need to make sure you're feeling fresh, confident, and you can go about all your dating endeavors or whatever it is that you have for 2022. All right. We can let them know what that performance package like, JK.
Performance package is here to help you bring in 2022 with the right tools for the job. This lovely bundle is packed with 7 goodies to keep you feeling fresh and confident in all of your dating endeavors in 2022.
Listen, that 4.0, that electric trimmer, smooth. No, you don't have to worry about no accidents. You can take care of the sensitive areas with no problem. So it also comes with a 4000K LED spotlight. I didn't know how useful it was until I was using it. I was like, oh, okay, don't miss a spot. So you got the weed hacker, you got the performance package with the deodorant and the crop reviver. So it takes care of all the smells. Long story short, get yours today. All right. Go to manscaped.com. Use the code BTG Nation at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping on us. It's more where that came from. So lock in. All right. As always, keep it real, keep it simple, and keep going. Because it's All-Star break time. Yeah. And like, we said, by the time All-Star break came, a lot of things was going to be out in the open, right? A lot of teammates are going to be fed up. Right, a lot of things are going to be in the mix. People trying to get trade rumors and stuff done. So we'll talk about. That's where you really get this, jump into what Kyrie might be jeopardizing outside of just himself. I think Stephen A. The direction he was going in. Well, my argument is going to be that nobody has to say that. You're choosing to say that that's part of his legacy, right? Because KD never once made it seem like I'm leaving the best team in the world to go just play with Kyrie. He was just like, I've done what I wanted to do here. Now I'm going to go for a different challenge. Like,
we can't argue that.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody going to look at KD's career and say...
No, they are. They are.
But that's a choice, though. Like, you don't have to.
Everybody has a choice, but I'm just saying, like, and we can argue this we can debate this, but it's going to be people out there saying what Stephen A. Smith is saying, and there's going to be people having the opposite opinion. That's just how it is, man.
No, but you're talking about his legacy. And the legacy is really set in stone. Like, what sense does that make to even say him of that person?
It's like Stephen A. Smith said, though. It's not fair sometimes what happens in the media and what happens with public opinion. Because we do the same crap with Chris Paul and them guys and stuff like that. Chris Paul just had an interview with JJ Redick. He was talking about that. Like, that's just how it is. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we live in an era where social media is so important. So that's just how it is. And you got to deal with it. Like, shit, you are one of the top players in the league ever. Yeah. So you got to deal with it. If Jordan had to deal with stuff, everybody's got to deal with something. LeBron deal with stuff every shit.
Yeah. Well, no, we're gonna go.
Yeah, we can go into it. Like,
because it's an interesting space when it's like, that's not the truth about his legacy, but that's what you're saying the truth is going to be. Oh, They said that boy grandmother black.
Man, that cat.
They said that man grandmother.
See, I heard
black.
today that his father was white. So I was like, come on, man.
Yeah,
I mean, black. I'm like, come on, man. Like, that kid is white.
Did you see the Hugh Jackson joint I sent you when he was sitting down with Fred Taylor and all that?
I saw some of that shit. I had seen it before and I stopped listening to it because I can't. You don't have any credibility because you're saying something now.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackson coached long enough in the league where he should be confident enough to speak his mind because, one, you already know you ain't getting another job as a head coach. 2, you already made enough money. 3, you know what I'm saying? The thing is, like, at this age, you ain't got nothing else to prove.
True. Didn't he go on First Take, though, and speak up on it when he first got fired? I know he did say something about him having.
He ain't say nothing about them paying him to lose the game. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
but they had some interesting things they talked about, especially with Ryan Clark. Not just like with his role in general, but just the behind the scenes of how things work for a lot of them. Because Ryan Clark asked is like, Mike Tomlin's in a tough position because, you know, they say Bruce Arians is the guy that he has the most power over black careers, right? Because he has them on his staff. He's like, we want to see Mike Tomlin do more, but we know sometimes we got to look at our jobs different to where it's like, we got to be careful who we put on the staff and just doing that one favor. And like, is he at a space to where he can do that now? But then it's like, he did a lot because his lineage, right? His tree is what they're talking about.
Mike Tomlin?
Yeah.
I mean, he can't do any more than what he's doing. Like, he gives people opportunities, players and coaches alike. And what's been happening to Mike Tomlin? He's been getting burned. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? Mike Tomlin's head was on the chopping block like 2 years ago.
He got to save himself.
Because Ben was dealing with injuries because Ben took so many hits. You know what I'm saying? Not one person stood up and said, you know, leave Mike Tomlin. Not one person. So Mike Tomlin was like, yo, I got the best job in NFL.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I got to do what I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, we've been learning those hard lessons to, you know, the 6 people we done had on the pod that done came and gone, and the business people that done came and went. And I ain't doing it like I did before to where it's like, all right, give you another chance. And this now it's all like, all right, you missed the ride. Because we not where we were before. And I was telling, I talked to my boy today who's starting his own radio station. And we're going to have him on so you can talk producers. This is the space where you want to talk producers with. That's the one. And so I was telling him, I was like, look, telling everybody the same thing. We want to partner with you. We'll bring value. But we're going to do this shit with or without you. So don't think that because I'm coming to you with an idea that if you just fall off the face of the earth, nah. This train keep moving. And where it go, you're going to find it at a different destination. The price going to be different.
Right. And it's frustrating because it's so simple. Like, what we are requiring of other people is so simple.
Man.
Basic stuff. Like, we're basically doing everything. We just want you to, you know, tag along for the ride.
Man. And the problem is like, we ain't even start recording this shit yet.
Oh, I thought we was recording.
What? But you know, I do a little snippet now before the episode.
Okay.
And before the intro. But I'm like, that's the thing too, is you don't know the ideas that I have. And me just looking at your brand or whatever, and I'm like, man, boom. And the biggest way to grow is through collaboration right now, right? It's not spending millions and millions of dollars in some marketing thing to get yourself seen, because everybody's going to do that, right? But how are you going to get people to stick and keep coming back?
This is for somebody who, I'm not even in the marketing at all. Don't care about it. But I got common sense in terms of my experience. And you're supposed to be able to see ideas before they grow. So you're not, anybody can, that's like investing. You know, you want to be a good investor? Well, if you give me $1 million, I can be a pretty good investor.
Mm-hmm.
I got a large enough capital to do that. But in terms of the marketing, like, you're supposed to be able to see things before they happen and say, we can get attached to that now before they get big. And so we can get in there and have major influence on it at a low price. But people, they just don't They're not opening their minds. They don't see it.
And it's not like we coming with no plan, right, or like with nothing visibly in hand. It's like I'm literally telling you what we're about to do for the next 3 months, next 6, next 12, next 4 years, and how you can help and where we think that can help you. And you're just looking crazy. So now, like Ho said, I got to set the price on you. But let's get into the podcast, man. You ready over there, Elliot? You got everything, the buttons you've been practicing? Don't mess this up, man. It's your one shining moment, big dog.
Mush mouth.
You know what I'm saying? Here we go. Podcast going.
Oh, was it Dumb Donald?
I'm not hip to Dumb Donald, but Mushmouth was funny. 5, 4, 3, and go.
King and Yates, they bridging the gap from the U.S. to Dubai, put pins on the map. Ball is life, and that's a fact. And a baller's life, about that exact. King and Yates, they bridging the gap from the U.S. to Dubai, put pins on the map. There's a time to score and a time to assist. Ain't no I in team, let the winning commence. From generation to generation, game don't stop. The new and old school got the game on lock. It's all legendary, it's all necessary. We all been all-stars before February. And after that, King and Yates, after racks. But really trying to get some wins, not just padding stats. 2 basketball lovers through happenstance.
It is February, ain't it?
Greatness that advance.
He said we trying to get some wins. We all-stars before February. And here we are. February is a great month, too. But let me shout out a new young buck that we got in the Hoop Star, not a Hoop Star Academy, but our new Hoop Star in our Hoop Mountain franchise, Amari. You know, Amari only been with us for like 2 weeks. He came back. You know, this is where it lets you know. You might meet somebody that you've only known for 2 months. They be more loyal than somebody you've met for 4 years.
Right.
It's just how you built. Amari came to me and said, "Hey, Coach, I peeped your podcast." I said, "I like that intro too, man. It's dope." Amari, shout out to you, man. We appreciate that, champ. You know, good work, man. And keep coming to camp on time and practice on time. But that's love, right?
We're working hard, man.
Man, look.
Paying attention. That's what we talk about.
Listen, and that's early. He ain't even seen the good stuff yet. He just got a glimpse. So, you know, shout out to you. So BTG Nation, and we are episode 13 of season 2. Man, look, every time we make it to another episode, because, man, it's tough.
What number is this?
13 of season 2. And I think in total, it may be episode 40.
Okay.
Right.
Getting old.
Listen, we've been putting it in. We've been putting the work in. And I'm sorry for you guys that get tired of probably hearing us say it at the beginning of every episode. But, like, it take a lot. It take a lot to make it happen on top of everything else that's going on. But it's dope. It's dope.
When people see us, they have no idea that this is at the end of the day.
Man.
We've been grinding all day, and because I know I've had some people come and, send me messages and say, "Man, why it sound like you're losing your voice all the time?" So, man, it's the end of the day, man. We've been in practice 3-4 hours, whatever, and that's including office work and meetings and such. And in particular, we just finished a big weekend where we had our first tournament of the year.
Yep.
And so, if you guys know how that goes, it gets pretty hectic in there, you know what I'm saying? In a good way.
Yeah.
Good way.
And it's in a space to where we're doing things that have never been done before. Right. Everything that we're doing, we've been seeing it all our lives as far as basketball goes. But in Dubai, we're kind of like creating our own community and growing things. So it's different. So with that being said, Hoop Mountain Dubai, Hoop Mountain DXB, for the first time listeners, that's us. That's Coach King and I. That's our brand. That's our basketball community. That's the culture we're bringing here. We're 3 years in deep. I'm building this bad boy, ups and downs. We making it happen. If you're new and you have family in the UAE or the area, have them come check us out. We do a lot of cool things. You can see for yourself. We got parents calling us the best.
Oh, for sure.
And that's the one thing we don't do is call ourselves the best. We watch our competitors. We see people. And, with basketball, things come to sports, you can't just be self-proclaimed the best. If when it comes down to athletics, it's mano y mano. Like, it's only one way that you can tell, and it's nothing that can be fabricated. So, and time will tell, as it always does. But how you feeling, OG? Episode 13, we in here. 13 is the right number, right? Yeah, 13 is the right number.
By the way, you said 13. He put up 4.
He put up a few different things. I don't know. Bruh man from the fifth floor? We got to put him on. He from the UK. He don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But I'm feeling good, man. Like I said, we just had a big weekend where our first tournament of the, 2020, 22 year, whatever. And, feeling real good. It was a long, hard day. And then we finished up with something that was pretty fun.
Yes. And that was...
And victorious.
Man, so shout out to our young hoop star and his family, Rayon, his mom, Rabia, and Bobby. We always say that we're trying to build a family here. And typically people hear that, and it's really a marketing scheme.
Right.
People working in that. But when people find out that we're literally family and we're here and that's how we do things, they start to warm up and open up to us. And then we just start to make our family bigger. And so Rayon was one of our first clients. His mom and his dad have been, we now have the youngest one, Rizzy, as well.
Sure. Yeah.
And they've been great extension for us. Great. And so they invited us to his 15th birthday surprise party. And it was a paintball birthday party. I got a couple of bruises from it.
Yeah, I got some too from Ray.
Yeah,
He got a couple of cheap shots in on me.
Yeah, it was a good time though. I don't know if you guys won that last one. I give you the second one. We went 1-1. Right, we won the first one. Y'all won the second, but the last one, I don't even remember seeing the flag.
But
I swear.
Yeah, because we got it quicker. That's what I'm saying. So
I don't remember them even putting it out there.
The first game wasn't even a loss. It was like a tie. Yeah, because time ran out. Second one, we just dominated you guys. Third one, we won fair and square. I mean, that's just bottom line.
Man.
Because after the first game, the guys on my team were just running all up. I said, man, we got to have some type of strategy. So, they huddled around, let's listen to the coach, you know what I'm saying? I got them together, We started changing everything into, combat lingo, and we got it together, man.
I was sniping him on the first round.
Hey.
I got Bobby. I got Bobby. Bobby was like, "Who's that in the corner?" That was me. I was rolling around in the sand. I was in there. It was fun. We definitely going to make that a thing.
Oh, for sure.
We got some surprises in stores. I won't let the cat out the bag yet, but it was definitely a good cap because we were definitely up for a long time. I'm trying to figure out and then we woke up on Sunday and was right back at it. And typically, because we still trying to train the kids, typically they don't come to classes the next day because they just think it's an excuse to miss out. But we had a great showing the next morning, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it just shows that things are starting to build. Yeah. Kids are getting a little bit tougher.
People starting to get it.
Yeah, they're starting to get it. So we love that. But we're here today to talk basketball. Let's talk basketball. A lot is going on. A couple weeks ago, the Knicks traded for Cam Reddish. They sent Kevin Knox and a few others out to Atlanta, and they got Cam. And, I've been on his saying for, I've been saying it since he was at Duke, that Cam, I think, is an all-star talent. You see that video of Anthony Edwards talking about the toughest player he's ever had to guard was Cam. Mm-hmm. And, he went to Atlanta to where it could have been a better situation, but they were wing heavy, so he didn't get as much time. But he showed flashes, a lot of them. And now you see him go to a place like the Knicks where they struggle with scoring, struggle with making shots for themselves. And Cam has that package. And now we hear that Thibs didn't want the kid and hasn't played him in the last 4 games, like D and P's. And if he does play, he plays in garbage time because he didn't agree with the move from the front office.
Typical Tibbs. He likes to coach his guys. Which does make sense. Like, if Tibbs is your guy and you had some success with him last year and you're going to let him run the ship, you gotta make sure you talk to him in terms of bringing players in. But we all know The New York Knicks, MSG, one of the greatest places to play basketball in the world. Terrible management.
Man.
Terrible management. So we can understand this. And Tibbs is, everybody knows by now that Tibbs is not a guy that you can push around.
Right.
You'll have to fire him.
Yeah, and
So,
that's what's about to happen. And it's tough because that's a kid's career, and that's a kid with talent. And he's young, and he caught in the crossfires. Like, he didn't do anything to Tibbs, but go from here. You got to be, you know.
I mean,
it's what it is.
He didn't do anything to Tibbs, but also Tibbs didn't do anything to him. You see what I'm saying? Like, it works hand in hand. So that's why if your coach is against bringing somebody in, don't bring him in or just fire him.
Well, yeah, that's probably the next phase because it's not like Tibbs has had the Knicks performing well. He's had questionable decisions all year.
Sure,
right? And so, you know, and you talked about Tibbs saying that he was doing so much in his time off to change his ways. Slowly but surely getting back to the same old dog.
Well, you know how it is when you get uncomfortable, you get a little failure, you go back to what you know.
True.
So again, it's either you fire him right away as you bring Cam in and say, you know what? We believe in this kid. This is what we're going to do. Boom, boom. But to keep prolonging it, the organization is hurting Cam more than Tibbs is.
True. I mean, and talking and staying on the Knicks, I mean, they're saying Julius Randle. I see Kendrick Perkins talking about, oh, Julius Randle looks like he's in his last days in New York already. It's like a crazy thing. Like, last year, Tibbs Coach of the Year type energy. Randle All-Star, maybe most improved player. And now this year, Tibbs might be fired. And Julius Randle, they're talking about trade rumors. Like, it's a wild spectrum that flipped over on.
Not really, man. It's the same scenario. We see teams come out of the blue and have good years, but the next year, everybody knows you're coming.
Yeah.
So they prepare for you.
True.
When people don't respect you, don't know you're coming, they don't game plan for you. Now everybody's sitting on Julius Randle's left hand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Force him to do a little bit more.
True.
He's struggling.
It's tough, man. But, I don't care what the Knicks do. Like they said, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the summertime because, we're already hearing the rumblings. My man, Donovan Mitchell said he fed up with Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, whatever his name is. And it's funny because...
Man, get the man's name right. He's making $209 million.
Making $209 million. They said that he's getting under his skin. The thing is like, I don't know. So one day somebody's going to listen to us in our basketball take, right? One day. But we've been talking about it since the very beginning. And I think Shaq do this too. He was like, Rudy Gobert got $200 million and he made 9 points. So now you look at it, right? Donovan Mitchell, like, all right, I'm a star in my position, in my space, in the guard space, right? And I got a $200 million big man, right? And on paper, that's supposed to look like a championship squad. You got to guard that superstar level like him. And technically, if you're paying $209 million for a big, it's a star. Because who else gets paid that much money? Giannis, Embiid, Joker, AD. Okay. That's superstar. So if you in that same class and you pair Donovan Mitchell with any of those guys, you're thinking, oh, this is championship run. And now Donovan looking at it like, yo, I can't win with this dude. Right? But we talked about those defensive player of the year awards he didn't won that we're not too sure about. And then, you had Draymond the other day talk about, look, if I didn't make the All-Star game, I wasn't going to cry about it. Like Rudy did. And call it out. Like the league think he's soft.
I think it's okay if you cry about something you're passionate about.
Shut up, man. I think the league think he's soft too. That's one of the wildest things. Rudy Gobert.
Rudy, I believe in you.
No, you don't, man. Cut it out. What are you going to do?
You are able to come through sometimes. You gave everybody COVID.
And laughed about it. Like, you might see Donovan go to New York messing around with that.
No, not with that organization. Especially not after those comments that, LeBron had said about the owner, James Dolan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
maybe because new coach and he a New York kid. That's the one thing that makes it different. Playing at home in New York, that might make it different. But we'll see. We'll see. It's interesting. We got to give a big shout out to LaMelo Ball and DeMonte Murray. They've made their first All-Star games. They made the replacements for Bron and I don't know if it's Draymond and KD. Murray, man, his story, because I haven't been paying enough attention, right? And I'm not talking about stats wise, because I can tell he's a stat sheet stuffer. Like 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, 19, 20 points a game at the point guard position. That's high level. That's dynamic. But the eye test is always different, right? And you've been hearing a lot of people vouch for how well he's been playing. And he went to a Spurs organization that was on a rebound for one. And they said he was had a troubled past and was real young coming in. So to get nurtured after having a big injury as well, and then bouncing back like this, it's dope, man.
Right. We talk about it all the time, though. It's right organization, right coach. When the Spurs bring somebody in that's young, they don't just throw you to the wolves. They're going to make sure you have the right opportunity to be successful. Even if you leave them in the future, you're going to be a better player.
Yeah, that's just good for the league. Because Keldon Johnson, the one that played in the Olympics, right? Everybody was like, why in the world is he going out there? But that's a product of the Spurs organization right there. I think he's from VA too. Yeah. Like down there, like near Moses Malone type area. But LaMelo, third youngest All-Star in NBA history behind Bean and LeBron. Then that's going to be a show. It's dope to see him in there. They have some new formats for the All-Star weekend too. As far as the Rising Star game, it's like 4 teams, like a tournament that they play. So it's going to be interesting to watch how that goes. I'm going to try to catch it for sure.
I ain't staying up that late. I'm sorry.
Man, they play him again on YouTube the next day. It's a different space out here. You keep going up. Kendrick Nunn still hasn't played a game. I keep forgetting that he's even on the roster.
That was a forgotten name right there.
Yeah, and he can go. And he definitely changes some things. And he's still not ready to play. So that'll be interesting to watch.
What exactly was his injury?
A bone bruise, a knee bone bruise. Yeah, they say he's still not ready to go. But we'll see how that goes. I don't know if it's going to be a big turning point for us, but keep scrolling. You can go to the next page altogether. So right there. Karis LeVert. So there's been some big trades. So Karis LeVert has been traded to the Cavaliers for Ricky Rubio. I think it's Norman Powell. Go to the bottom. Norman Powell and Robert Covington have been traded to the Clippers. And then C.J. McCollum, before we got on air, got traded.
May he rest in peace.
Right?
He's done.
Right there. So go back up top a little bit. So Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and some picks went to Portland. And then the Clippers got Covington and Norman Powell. And then for, what's it called? Keep going. Yes, and then CJ left. CJ's gone, and now Portland got Josh Hart, the young cat out of Virginia Tech from Toronto, and some draft picks and some other stuff. Now, I think the biggest winner out of all those trades is Cleveland.
For sure. There's no question.
Cleveland putting together a squad. They got some young dogs over there. They're already in the heat of things anyway. Now they add LeVert to that.
Yeah, they by adding him, they will make some noise this year. But when the young buck comes back next year, it's going to be some trouble.
Man, and they got a big front line too on top of that. And so that's going to be fun to watch. Now, what do you think Clippers are trying to do? They're competitive. So shout out to Ty Lue, first of all. They're better than us. And they don't have Kawhi or PG playing right now. Right? And that's just a testament to the coach. This is why we should have had Ty Lue in the first damn place and let him have what he want.
He didn't want much. He just wanted two things that most coaches want: the ability to pick their own staff and a 5-year deal. That's standard. You get a 3-year deal when you're a rookie coach.
Yeah,
this man has a championship.
Come on, man. And he's got the Clippers looking like a solid organization. So what do you think they're doing with that move?
Oh, let's not gloss over it. And if he was with the Lakers, he'll have that conversation with Westbrook
and AD. Westbrook and AD. But, everybody's so hyped, too, because AD done had these 30 and 15 games in the last 5. I don't care about none of that shit. But we know he's capable of that. That's not the thing, but it's not resulting in wins. That's the problem. But, what do you think the Clippers are trying to do, though, with that trade to get Norman Powell and Robert Covington? What do you think that they're positioning themselves for now?
Somebody's coming back. Somebody's coming back. They're going to make a run. You got to think about those two dudes are perfect supplemental pieces to an all-star.
Yeah.
And they're going to make a run.
Yeah. I ain't mad at them. So now CJ, you said they throw him to the Wolves. You don't think it's a good... Brandon Ingram, who's been balling too, and I got to add him to the list of people that we don't talk about much because he's just quiet, but he improved his game, and all he does is show up and work. Gets it done offensively. Brandon Ingram, I do hope he gets a chance to play in a winning place, though. CJ McCollum and Zion Williamson, that's not a good 3.
First of all, Ingram is balling. Zion is MIA. CJ goes there and Zion comes back. Where's he going to fit in? They all need the ball. Zion can play off the ball a little bit more because he's more of a garbage dude, high energy dude. But come on, man, it ain't.
This ain't good. That's not good talent.
Yeah. CJ's telling everybody. He's telling his agent, "Look, just find me an apartment. I ain't gonna be there long. Yeah.
Yeah, that's facts. Where do you think he's gonna go?
He ain't gonna stay there.
Yeah,
because at this point in his career, he's made too much money. He's put in too much work. He wants to go somewhere where he can have a legit chance to win.
Word. So where would he fit?
Anywhere but there.
Yeah,
he's just trying to go somewhere that Yeah. Just in a perfect world, in terms of contenders this year, he'd make Philadelphia incredible.
Word.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
He would fit in. He'd even fit in better with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Because they just need somebody that can score.
There's still a little bit out there, though, that can happen for the Sixers and other in terms of guards. But CJ, man, it was cool watching you and Dame work out. But, they had to break up the small backcourt.
Yeah, Lehigh University, baby.
Man, he dogged it out, that's for sure. So now you're looking at Portland. They cleaning house.
Chauncey Billups is like, shit. I should have waited.
Word.
I should have waited. I should have let this coaching itch get to me, man. He should have did the same thing he did with Cleveland. Turn it down, just I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because, nobody wants to go through a rebuild, man.
You think Dame out of there?
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Knowing that CJ's got the moving company coming to the crib, he's out.
So what's tough for me is, before we got on the pod, my boy sent me this stuff, and it was like, yo, there's enough assets for a Dame and Westbrook trade, right? And I was like, yo, hell no. One, because don't play with me, man.
Don't play with my emotions.
You know what I'm saying? Don't play with me, man. We would love to see a Dame in L.A. We would love that to happen, but I don't think Dame would make that. I don't know. I don't know what would happen.
Based on his past perception, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But as of late, like I said, you always can have a change of heart. And when you see that you aren't as invincible as you once were, Father Time's knocking at the door, you're like, shit. You talk about, you give it the best shot you can to win a championship. You don't win a championship, you're a Hall of Fame player. That's great. We respect you. But you always want to give yourself a chance to win it. And he hasn't had a chance to play for it at all. Chris Paul finally got a chance. So if he weren't able to get it, he can sleep at it. He's got peace.
Because he was at the door.
Yeah, at the door.
Man.
You don't even get to the door. You're like, shh, I'm still in the car.
Yeah.
I can't get out the driveway.
Shit. Yeah. That's what that sounds like, is a long end of the joint. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how that goes. I mean, the next thing I hear is like, you know, on a smaller scale, the Celtics are going to deal Schroeder again, trying to get rid of his money. That's not nothing worth to talk about. But last week we mentioned, and this is important because we just talked about McCollum, and we mentioned Dinwiddie having some issues in Washington, right? And so now because of those things, you're starting to hear more information about Bill not being sure about his future there. And of course, they can offer him a super max deal and all these other different things. But
how much is he eligible for?
I think is it like 280 or something like that? What does it say down there for Bradley Beal super max? It's already on the thing. No, he going.
Oh,
dumb. Get it. It might not work. It's already on the Google Doc though. What's it say? We don't have it here. It say 235 million. Yeah, an extension to get an extra. Yeah, it's a lot of M's. He can get an extra 50, and it'd be like, yeah, it's a lot of M's. But he already got like a guaranteed 180 or something like that.
Well, yeah, he's already made 200 plus.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I'm saying, you know, and the thing that became an issue is Dinwiddie smoked, and he was like, it's an interesting situation. I spoke up a little bit early on. It wasn't necessarily welcomed, and so I said, I try to do whatever's asked for me, and at the end of the day, everybody has a role to play. It's about being accountable in your role and doing what's the best for you. So it sounds like he tried to get the team to be a bit more professional and approach winning in a different way, right? And they weren't feeling it. Culture.
Yeah. Culture, man.
Mm-hmm.
Starting from the top.
And Dinwiddie's a good person that can go to Philly and just have his whole season revived.
He'll put them over top. Because he brings a facet to the game that is unexpected, because if you need rebounding, he give you extra rebounding from the guard spot. You need defense, he's always going to play defense. You need extra scoring, we know he can get 20, easy. I mean, and he's always got high IQ out there. So,
man, and they're gonna try and get him out of there for peanuts, probably.
Right.
But you know, the Wizards are the Wizards. It's funny because we said this. We don't like to kick a man when they down. So when they were up, we said,
"This ain't a man; it's a wizard."
Yeah, it's a wizard.
It's a wizard,
right?
Man. Like,
we said this early, like episode 2, 3. Like, man, I try to say, look, King, they got a chance this year. It's like the Wizards will be the Wizards. It is what it is. That's how that goes. But let's go back up to the top for me. We got some interesting stuff to talk about right there. A few people have asked me, like, yo, when are y'all going to talk a little bit more about the Ben Simmons situation and the Kyrie Irving situation? And I said, I even said on the podcast, we'll wait until closer to All-Star break, because by then, more information will be out. And then more of how the league and teammates feel about it will be out, right? So let's address Ben a little bit. Some things came out. Ben talked about, he's upset that Embiid and the guys blamed him for last season's loss when Embiid never was to blame before, with stuff that happened 2 years ago against the Raptors. Or, he's upset that Doc didn't call him when he was in LA, even though he was ignoring Doc's calls. Like, it's a lot going on.
Man, why are we talking about this shit?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean to curse. I said I wasn't going to curse that much this year. Man, come on, Ben Simmons, man. You make $30+ million a year. You're an all-star. You're an adult. Come on, man. You want to talk about being in a bad situation with bad culture. You could be 10 other spots other than Philly, and let's see how you would really think about things then. You got to man up, man. You just got to man up and look yourself in the mirror and say, I just got to do better. That's just it. That's all the coaching staff, the organization, your teammates, the Philly fans are asking you to do, man. Just play better. It's going to be no different somewhere else.
You see, Shaq has been saying it, right? Shaq stopped saying his name.
Right.
But then he sent Shaq a DM complaining about it. And Shaq's perspective is one that you've been having since the very beginning of the podcast. I'm talking about last year when we first started it, right? I'll let you know it's your moment. You're getting paid too much.
You make too much money, man. So you're getting paid to perform at a high level because we've seen you perform at a high level and we praised you for it. And, you can't accept the praise for playing at a high level. And then when you're not playing at a high level, now you can't accept the criticism. If all the great ones before you that have played 3 times the amount of time you've been in the NBA so far, if they dealt with it, you can deal with it. And this is minimal criticism that you're dealing with. And this is stuff, when, you're talking about that particular question Doc Rivers had in the post game. That was a legit question. That was a legit answer. He didn't know. And then, you talk about he didn't reach out to you. The man put his job on the line because he played you in fourth quarters when everybody said, you know what? If the kid ain't going to shoot, don't play him. He played you anyway. He stuck by you. Mm-hmm. And Doc's been known as a player's coach.
Like Shaq said, you messing up the money.
Yeah, for the future. Yeah. Because somewhere in a back room that we don't know about, there's a lot of NBA owners either texting each other, talking in private, and they're saying, you know what? We can't let this happen again. Because they're counting them off. Ben Simmons, James Harden,
mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say we can't allow the players to completely dictate the league because they're ruining the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ask for a certain situation, James Harden in Houston, and then just run away from it.
Right. And now, like with Ben, it's ironic, right, that he DM'd Shaq. I'm a Lakers fan, right? I remember those moments when I'd be like, yo, we got to get Shaq out the game.
Everybody remembers those moments. Shaq remembers those moments.
But I also remember the moments when Shaq knocked him down in the fourth quarter, right? Like, all those things was right there, and obviously you don't want to accept that challenge because everybody got the same thing.
Right.
Everybody got it. But the most glaring thing is that the league, 5-6 months in or whatever, halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through. Simmons has been out, Clay has been out, Kyrie has been out. I've heard and seen stories and highlight videos of everybody saying, I can't wait till Clay gets back. I miss it. I've seen everybody say, I can't wait till Kyrie gets back. I miss it. I miss it. I haven't seen one person say, I miss watching Ben Simmons play.
Right.
That kind of reminds you of how replaceable you are in this sport, right? And then, you putting yourself in a space where you're going to be lost and forgotten about. Because the game doesn't need you. Basketball is bigger than Ben Simmons. It is always going to be. It's going to be somebody new, right? It's going to be somebody better. And even if they're not better, they're going to have a better attitude.
The one good thing Ben has going for him right now is his youth.
Yeah. It's the only.
If Ben was a little older, he might not get another shot because people wouldn't want to deal with it. But, people will take the risk in dealing with it now because he's so young and he has so much potential. But even when they get him now, they still have to figure out an issue of like, where do we space him on the floor?
And you think you lost $19 million voluntarily because they still wanted you to play. You lost $19 million in counting voluntarily because you didn't like the tone of the way some shit was said. Who raised you? That's the type of question that you start to ask. Like from where I'm from, like, who raised you?
Right.
You had an opportunity of a lifetime. right? You say it's mental health. You say it's this or that. 19 million and counting. It could be 31 mil at the end of the year. Like, what?
I'm balling.
Come on.
And you would get your wish because you'd be auditioning for other teams. They'd be like, okay, he's willing to play. So you probably would have had a trade by now.
Word. And like, I don't think you really love the game. Because in the open gym or just a pickup, I played on teams with people I didn't like. But once you start hooping, the game just take over itself. It don't even matter if I don't like you or not. We trying to get a W. Like, we can make this happen. Like, it says a lot about you, man. And I don't want to see nothing where he pop up as a Laker or nothing crazy like that. Like, don't make that stuff happen. But Ben Simmons, man, you've done what you've done, and it's crazy to see. But, you know, you got to deal with that. You know, you asked for it. Let me go to Kyrie. You know, like another situation to where the league is going to be different because of it. And now we see that so much, you know, they talking about Hardin to the Sixers, if not at the trade deadline in the summertime, because he doesn't like the situation in Brooklyn. But then you hear Steve Nash say, no, we're not trading him, right? Then you hear, you know, Kyrie and KD say they talked to James. He said he's committed to being here and winning here. Then you know, it's almost glaring to like, if you don't win a championship this year, he's definitely leaving. But we talk about legacy when we look at this. 3 people, Kyrie, KD, and Hardin, right? Like, let's start with Kyrie. Where does the legacy go for Kyrie after this?
His legacy is going to be diminished somewhat just because he's ruining a great opportunity right now. And so, you know, winning a championship with Cleveland elevated his career. I mean, we're talking about Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a situation where he could, even though he may have the best one-on-one handles in the league ever, he may not make the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. You know, and so his career is definitely going to take a hit. His reputation will take a hit for sure.
Yeah, and he's not saying he's not a Hall of Fame player, right? That's what I'll question, right? That's what I'll question. Probably the best under the rim finisher
ever,
and with the best handle ever for creating your own one-on-one. So that's not a question, right? He might be the Isaiah Thomas of our era. Yeah, but I'm talking about in terms of off the court image. Right. And even though his Isaiah Thomas Zeke image was just because he was a rival of MJ, right? But, you know, MJ was colossal at the time. So it's different. But times 3 is like a mixture of that and then a couple political warriors. But I still don't know what it is that he's fighting. That's my only thing, to where it's like, you know, I get it, you know, and watching people, I don't like the mandate fact either. You know, that's kind of tough, to where like you making people choose between work and this, where there's so many other things that have happened to where you've never done this. But it's also an unprecedented time in the world.
Well, I mean,
so we're all in the spaces to where it's like,
we can say that we don't like it. Of course, you know, yeah. I don't like it, but you know, but when it comes to, when you look at the grand scheme of things, if it's pertaining to everybody's overall health,
yeah,
I can roll with it.
Yeah, and I know it's hard to trust.
You know, because I mean, I got people in my family close to me that have COVID and been sick as dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so if you have some type of underlying condition already, or something that we don't know about, you know, that could, you know, speed up the process and, you know, get you one foot, you know, just one step closer to the grave. So I get it. You know, it is not fair. But in his case, he's not an average U.S. citizen that's living check to check.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, make a decision, man.
Right.
And just live with it.
Yeah. I forgot which one of the NBA athletes, old school, or maybe it was an NFL player on the podcast, saying, you know, them conscious dudes, those real conscious people, they ain't millionaires.
That is true.
They out there, they living amongst the people. You know what I'm saying? They one with nature. It's
True.
It's real easy. I think Charles Barkley might even said it. It's real easy to be conscious with a couple mil in the bank.
For sure.
There's a whole different type of you.
Yeah.
You damn right I got a third eye.
Yeah.
I can see the world a lot different now with a couple M's in my bank.
No doubt. It's just crazy because the Nets roster have championship on their mind. And it won't happen without Kyrie.
Right.
And so it's either allow them to move on without you, or, you're there with them and lead the way.
Yeah. And I get that, like, basketball, you don't want that to define your entire life. And like,
man, shit, stop. Let's stop the BS. Let's stop the BS. You're a professional basketball player making $1 gazillion.
Yeah.
Basketball is a huge part of your life. It's who you are. Being able to play basketball has gotten you to this point. You think anybody would care what Kyrie thinks or what he's doing off the court if he wasn't Kyrie Irving?
Well, that was going to lead me to my next thing. If that's the stance you're taking to where it's like, look, basketball don't define me, whatever, then stop playing.
Exactly. That's my point.
Like, that was my next thing. Then just stop playing. We would miss you, though. But now,
for sure.
But because of that, like everything you do has a reaction, right? It's a cause and effect of everything. And so now, because of what the Nets have had to go through to accommodate Kyrie, to have to adjust the team game plan, probably not even being able to have a complete one because he hasn't played. You have what you was now. They've been on like a 7-game losing streak. Well, before KD got hurt, they was KD MVP. They top 3 in the East, right? Hardin wasn't in good shape, but KD was carrying him so much so he can get into shape. He finally got into it. Right. And now it's looking like Hardin wants out, right? And that's when we go to our next space. What is Hardin's legacy like? And I'm talking about just in whole, because I think that people aren't looking at it in reality. I got an opinion about how I think it looks, but what do you think Harden's look like now?
First, let me say, everybody's got their own opinion.
Yeah.
And our individual opinion shouldn't matter to him. But from my perspective, if Hardin leaves this team without a championship, he's going to have the perception of always quitting because he's done that before. OKC is different because he left, basically as a free agent, but he quit on Houston, and that was a culture that he cultivated, and he quit on them. And so now you're with the big 3 in Brooklyn, and because things aren't quite going your way, you're quitting. And yeah, don't get me wrong, you came there thinking that Kyrie was going to play, and everybody would be healthy, and their supporting cast would be ready to roll. But it ain't that way. But you're good enough to hold the ship down.
I think Hardin, his legacy, more than anybody, will take the hardest hit, right?
Yep.
Because you haven't shown at any point that I'm talking about the conversations about greatest shooting guards ever, right? Because he'll be in that space.
Yep.
That's Kobe, MJ, it's Dwayne Wade. Some people have thrown AI in there. All of them were always winners, chasing wins, and they were at the center of a lot of those wins, right? When it came to the moment, no matter what it was, he always fell short. And it wasn't because, a lack of effort was the issue, right? We're talking about you finally get there, you with Chris Paul. Now you got there with Chris Paul, you don't like the way he talking to you, even though it's working, he trying to get there with just one thing on his mind. It don't work. Now you went out, even though the team was built around you. Now you're here in Brooklyn, where you forced your way to, right? Where you weren't in shape when you got there. You weren't in shape at the beginning of this season. And yes, you had an injury, so that's tough. okay? But you don't show up. KD carry you for 3 months, 4 months. Now you making some rumblings of someone you want to leave and go somewhere else, right? Like, it don't matter where you go. You're going to be the same when you get there. Are you going to play defense? Are you going to be consistent? Are you going to show up in the last 4 minutes of that closing game? I think his legacy is going to take the biggest hit because no matter what, Kyrie hit that shot over Steph.
Well, Hardin is perceived to be at a higher level than Kyrie anyway. So
right.
his career is definitely going to take the biggest hit.
Yeah, but like you said, at the end of the day, Kyrie was in those finals. Kyrie averaged 28 in those finals.
He did it.
He did it. And he did it with the ball in his hands. KD did what KD did, right? No matter what anybody says, he was always the best player on the floor when it was time to win those championships. And if they lost on him. Where is your legacy going to go? Like, is it really about championships right now for you? Is that really what it is? Or is it about you getting to your gang where you're comfortable at with Daryl Morey and them? You know? Like, I think Harden's legacy is one that isn't a winner. Like, not full-fledged, right? So, but we'll see. KD. And this is an interesting space because Stephen A. always got something to say, right? He always talking about KD. And then he always backtracks and try to say, look, I respect Mama Durant and all those other things. And he says, I think he's the best player in the world, blah, blah, blah. But he talked about how, and this is how it's messed up for KD because he's having an MVP year. And he's still looking like he'll be the best player in the league for the next 5, 6, 7 years. Like it's 1A Bron, 1B KD, and then everybody else is just chasing where they are, even after the injury, right? Basketball-wise only. But because of the actions of Hardin and Kyrie, right? Because of those actions, now they're talking about the questions of KD's legacy. Oh, man, if KD doesn't win this year, he's just going to look like the guy that left Steph and made the worst decision in his career. Or, you know, especially if Steph wins here or Steph wins there. I think it's like, how could you say that's KD's legacy? Like, where, I don't know, maybe you see it differently from what I do.
Listen, the man's going to go down as one of the best players ever in the game.
Short list.
We know that. But being that he went to Golden State when they were already a 70-plus win team and won 2 titles there after having them down, which means to everybody knowing how great KD is, everybody knew that they could get him the next year. They knew that. But he went there, he got those 2 chips. So people were expecting him to say, you know what? I am the best player on the floor at all times, and we're just going to keep running it back and just win multiple championships in Golden State. But the perception is that he left to get out of the shadow of Golden State. And, you know, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and win one with his own team. And he lead the way. Not in terms of being just the best player, but he's the cornerstone. He got there first. And so if he doesn't win it in Brooklyn, it won't be because of him. It will be because of James Harden and Kyrie. Let's get that straight. If they don't show up. But yeah, there's going to be a large population of people that are going to give him a hit on his career with that. Now, and that's not saying, listen, his career is up here, and that hit is going to take him here. You know what I'm saying? But there's going to be people say something. You know, that's just how it is. Everybody that is in the modern NBA today has someone taking a hit at their career. That's just facts of life, man.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't think it makes any sense.
We ain't say, listen,
Yeah.
What, you know, you said Stephen A. Smith is always saying so, right? We know that.
Yeah.
He said, we never said it was fair, but that's just how it is. You live in...
But then that's when I get to the point, like, that's a choice a person is making to say those things, right? Right? Like, whoever the media is or whatever, they're choosing to paint that narrative and push into that direction, right? They're choosing to make that a point of emphasis, knowing that it's not the full story. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying is, like, there's an issue with that because you know that like you said, the reason why it's not moving the way it's supposed to if they don't win a championship has absolutely nothing to do with Kevin Durant.
Right, but that's
Right?
the same thing that's the same thing currently with your Lakers.
Mm.
Westbrook's playing like trash, right? He's
Mhm.
not playing well. And it's on LeBron because LeBron was like, yo, let's get him.
Nobody is putting it on Bron though.
No, yeah, they are. Yes, they are. I listened. See, you'll say that they're not, and I'll say they are because I've heard them say it recently.
No, nobody gonna say it's gonna be his legacy that's gonna be tainted because of the dog.
Come on, man.
Nobody doing that to Bron.
Come on, because if anything short of not winning 2 championships as a Laker is a disgrace for them.
We're in terms of being a Laker in the purple and gold, right? But they aren't going to say that LeBron's legacy is hit.
They're going to say it.
No, you ain't seen nobody. This is a headline on ESPN. Bron get a lot of slack from the media.
KD don't get nothing compared to what LeBron gets.
KD gets plenty.
Nah.
KD get plenty, man.
Nothing like LeBron gets.
I ain't gonna say LeBron been, in the front of the camera since 17. So I ain't gonna, that's a different.
I know. I'm just saying, like, it is what it is. If KD would have stayed in Golden State and just been playing for championships, all the other stuff would have just gone out the window. But by him leaving, that just rekindled the fire that, okay, now he sees, he's not saying it, but his actions are saying, you know what? I can win on my own I don't need them. And so now I'm going to assemble my own squad. But unfortunately for him, his squad is crazy.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're literally crazy.
I'm gonna be part of that group that defend that because they are crazy, and we all know it takes so much more to win a championship, right? And the players are right there with that action. That is wild. Well, look, we just had a Woj bomb, right? Trade between the Pacers and the Kings, right? So the Pacers are trading Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday to Sacramento for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson.
Where are the Pacers in the Eastern Conference standings? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's nothing. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird though, because they've been talking about how Tyrese Halliburton was a cornerstone on how they're going to grow, right? Sabonis with De'Aaron Fox could be pretty big, but I don't know what happened. Are they trying to rekindle the Vlade Divac and Bobby Jackson era over there? Like, it's still going to be a dud for them out there in the West. But we're getting closer and closer to that trade deadline, so I want to know what the Lake Show going to do. I'm still looking at it. They said we can't do too much, but, I don't know how that works anyway.
You never know when you got money.
Right. And Brian says, hey, we always look for an opportunity to improve. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if there's anything else. Is there anything else on the list we got to get to? I think that's pretty... Oh, the WNBA just closed on $75 million in funding. They had an array of different investors. Baron Davis, Paul Gasol, Nike, Condoleezza Rice, a few others. What do you think that does for the WNBA?
Unfortunately, it just props them up for a few more years. I mean, I know people will probably be just upset with me for saying this, but listen. And I love women's basketball. I'm always talking about certain players and things like that.
True.
They can get to it.
True.
They can really play, but they play at a bad time of the year in the U.S. in the summertime.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get outside and enjoy the weather. They're playing after everybody's had like overload of college football, college basketball, NFL, NBA, NHL. I mean, in the summertime is like, you just want to get a little taste of something. Summer league, a few AAU games, some drafts. You ain't really trying to get in the gym and get after somebody, playing a 30, 40 game season. And it's unfortunate because you can't have them play in the wintertime because we've seen that league already and it's not going to compete.
Mm.
You know?
Mm.
You know?
How? Yeah.
It's just, you know.
But keep pushing, right?
No doubt.
James, you know what I'm saying? We don't know what's coming next, but something's going to happen.
Listen, if Rudy Gobert can make $209 million, they can keep propping up the WNBA.
For sure.
Because it's a lot of other dudes in the league, you know, better than me, but they're making way too much money.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Well, this going into All-Star break is going to be an interesting time too. I'm looking forward, and I'm here to stay. I still got us winning it all. I'm still going with the Lake Show and 6 against anybody. When whatever happens. I'm ride with us, but I still think we got more than enough that if we click, even if it's 2 weeks before the playoffs, if we turn the switch on and we got the right matchup, we good money. As long as we don't see, the Suns early or even the Warriors early right now because we don't have enough continuity. As long as we don't see them too early, I feel like we good. Once we get our rhythm going, 7-game series, we good money.
Or maybe Memphis.
They too young right now. Now, I think Memphis gets Utah out of there. They got to play them. And then I think Memphis gives the Warriors trouble. I think that Memphis gives the Warriors trouble if they have to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think they go to like 7. But if we get matched up with the Suns, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Bounce back in there. But let's wrap it up for today. Post game wrap up. We had some good basketball talk. But what you got for us for the PG wrap up today?
Something that hit me earlier. For those of you who don't know, I got a former player that's visiting Dubai for the week. Ryan's younger brother, teammate from the high school years in Alexandria, and he's here, and got a chance to see him for the first time since his college graduation. And that's been probably maybe 4 years ago or something like that. And so, we just talked about staying in touch and getting a chance to see each other and the impact we had on each other's lives and things like that. And, and I just want to say to everybody, please, with all the technology that we have and the opportunities we have in today's society to stay in touch, do your best to reach out to those you care about at some point in time, during the day, during the week, during the month, because there's literally no excuse nowadays. It takes a matter of seconds to reach out to somebody and just ask them how their day was, whatever, and see what's going on, because you don't know how you can pick them up if they're having a bad day, or they could also help you get through some tough times. But just knowing that across the years, across the distance, that you guys are still connected in some point, at some point in some fashion, and that you guys still have a bond. And, those are things that you should cherish, because, we're only put on this earth for a short period of time, and we got to make sure that, we get together with certain people, man, and we just cherish the time we have with them.
Man. And Kevin is a young buck. Like, I've really watched him grow up. He's the same age as my brother. Like, I really watched him from almost kindergarten up. Seen everything. Like, it's dope to see where somebody goes. We talked about it before. We got the age, so we got to watch other people age too, and to see how that goes, man. And you're right, man. Take advantage of the tech. Make sure you reach out and talk to those who you care about. Today was one of those days where I think the Grammys are coming up soon. And about 2 or 3 years ago, when Victory Lap dropped, there was a Grammy party today for Nipsey, and when Hope was there and everything. And everybody knows Nip is one of people that I admire for his knowledge and everything. But one thing that I always found dope and I always gravitated towards was his emphasis on knowledge being power. Sometimes Sometimes we look at our young brothers or sisters or people that are smart or just people that like to go and search and gain knowledge. We look at them kind of like weirdos and things. But, the knowledge of self is powerful. Going out and taking the time to learn about things that you don't know about, that stuff is what helps you grow, right? That helps you feed, helps you plant, helps you water another seed, helps you grow. So knowledge is power. Don't be afraid of that power because all you need is the will to do it. So knowledge is power, take that and run with it. So, episode 13 in the books. Thank you guys as always for locking in with us. And, we got some things coming. So BTG Nation, follow us TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe, everything there. Hoop Mountain Dubai, hoopmountain.ae, Hoop Mountain DXB here in Dubai. If you're in the UAE, check in with us. Come get some bump, come play. And that's it for this week. As always, keep it simple, keep it real, and keep going.
Player and coach, the brother to brother. They both got views that you need to discover. From sports, current events to just life talk. Whether you on a fast break or a nice walk, gotta tune in. You already know, G. This BTG Nation and you one of the homies. Just tune in. You already know, G. BTG Nation, the other ones in the nosebleeds.